Hello and welcome to another episode of the ISO Ball Podcast with your host, Derek Therriault, your place to learn about the NBA on and off the court. And we are discussing off the court today. We are getting into the 2018 NBA draft reactions. A little bit late, unfortunately, for this content, but not to worry, we're getting it out anyway. And joining me once again is my favorite guest, Nick Raponi. Welcome back.
What's up, Derek? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, always a pleasure. So let's just do kind of overarching ideas of this draft because there's a kind of a lot to get into and we could go any kind of direction, but let's kind of just get some overarching ideas. So if there's one thing that you can kind of just point out to this draft that you thought was interesting, what kind of do you think that might be?
Well, first I want to say I don't think this draft is very talented. I don't think you're going to see too many All-Stars come from this draft.
Okay.
I really don't think it's that talented of crop of players. I'm talking from a depth perspective. I really didn't think there was much depth out there in this draft. So right there, I'd say the thing that stood out for me, I guess, was I think you were touching on it. Probably the big men going high. That was probably it.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's like the first 7 picks, I think, or 5 of the first 7 picks were big men. DeAndre Ayton, the center, going to the Suns. Power forward, although I think his best position will be center in terms of Marvin Bagley going to the Kings. You got the Hawks, and we'll get into that trade, who end up getting Trae Young after a trade with Dallas. Jaren Jackson, a big power forward, going to the Grizzlies. And then the Mavericks got, Luka Doncic in that trade as well. Mo Bamba going to the Magic, and then Wendell Carter going to the Bulls. So almost four centers going in the first 7 picks, and that's kind of interesting when you consider the value of a center today. I mean, let's face it, that's probably the least valued position when we're talking about the NBA in terms of like things you'd pay money for. I mean, switchable wings and point guards, I'd say, would be the number one. But if you're looking like for anything else, I don't think a big man is high on a priority list. For money wise. So
no, I'd agree with you. I don't think Bagley's a center at all, though. So
okay.
I don't think Bagley's a center.
Okay, we'll get into Bagley in a second because I just think he's going to have a hard time defending power forward. So I think small ball center might be his best lineup. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So let's just finish the rest of the draft. Colin Sexton going to the Cavaliers. Athletic point guard from Alabama. Kevin Knox going to the Knicks. Questionable pick there. Again, we'll get there eventually. And then we have some more trades. So let's going into the 10 and then lower. So we'll get to that after. But I think it's now as good a time as ever to just kind of touch on these trades. So going back up, the first trade we have is the Mavericks and the Hawks trade. So the Hawks are getting Trae Young and a first-round pick in 2019 from the Mavericks, which is 1 through 5 protected. And despite the fact that they gave up Doncic going to the Mavs to get this, I thought this was a great haul from Atlanta, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it works both ways. I think Doncic is by far the best prospect in this draft, in my opinion. I think he's by far the best. So giving up him is something I probably wouldn't have done. But when you're Atlanta, you're not going to compete next year, in my opinion, anyway. Trae Young, he shows those flashes of Curry.
Definitely.
Obviously, I'm not comparing him to Curry, but like he shows those flashes where it's like, okay, but then at times I'm like, I don't know. I'm not completely sold on him. But at the same time, you're not going to be winning next year. So take that gamble on Trae Young, and you pick up, 2019 protected 1 through 5 protection.
Yeah.
So
from
Dallas. So hey, that's a good deal for Atlanta, and in my opinion, a slightly better deal for Dallas. But hey, I guess Dallas doesn't. You don't know where they're going to be in 2019, so
no, not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who it is. It was Travis Schlenk, who I think was actually involved in the drafting of Steph Curry back in 2009. That's now with the Hawks staff. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic. You got to believe, hey, if it worked once, it's going to work again. So you got to believe there was some kind of thinking there.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. And you know another thing too, there's no pressure for the Hawks to be good next year. You can literally give the keys to the car to Trae Young, similar to what they did with Dennis Smith in Dallas, and say, hey, make your mistakes, learn. We have no pressure to be good this year. No, nothing whatsoever. And you go and make your mistakes now, and then you'll be low in the draft again. And I think there's now good as time to ever. The Hawks could potentially have 3 first-round picks next year.
Yeah.
They have their own first-round pick. They now have this Dallas top 5 protected pick, and they still have Cleveland's first-round pick, which is top 10 protected. So depending on where LeBron goes, that could still be in the lottery somewhere. Or that could not convey this year, depending on how bad they are.
Yeah,
so
I think LeBron's gone. Cleveland's worst team.
Yes, so that's totally conceivable. They could be a bottom 10 team. I agree there. But there is lottery reform this year, so you never know how the structure might change that as well. Yeah. But the point is that if all those 3 of those picks convey, that's another opportunity for you to go and package some of those picks to go and get another guy next year, like RJ Barrett or something like that. And then you give yourself another year for money to come off the books. You know, your Kent Bazemore's. Maybe you get rid of slipping my mind. Dennis Schroeder, now that you have Trae Young. And some of these things become a lot more conceivable to attract free agents. And hey, I understand, like, free agents like Atlanta, is what I hear. Like, there's a lot of good rapper culture, like, a lot of, like, celebrities, like no kidding, like, Gucci Mane, Migos, like, these are influences. Like, yeah, Future,
Two
like,
Chainz.
2 Chainz, exactly. Like, I know I'm missing a lot of guys, too. I don't mean to disrespect Atlanta hip-hop, but that's the kind of thing that's going to attract free agents, in my opinion, is that kind of culture. So, things looking up for the Hawks. I really like the trade for them and all.
Yeah, no, great trade both ways. Honestly, I really think so.
And just getting into the Mavs side, I mean, you get Luka Doncic, who very, like we just said, best prospect in the draft in our opinion. And I mean, this is a guy that's going to fit next to Dennis Smith Jr.
It's going to be very nice having him at the 2.
Yeah, exactly. And I even heard a tweet that Carlisle said he's going to be a problem at the 4, and I just went, whoa. Oh my goodness, they're already thinking wild and stuff like that. So, like this, like, who knows what the potential could be? I think that just kind of insinuates that, just the fact that they're thinking of playing him at the 4. And
that would be ridiculous.
That would be
opinion,
I think so too. But I think he just means in switch lineups where you can just kind of.
I know what he means, but like, I don't want him playing too many minutes.
No, probably not. You want him as that second ball creator. Yeah, I agree. So that's gonna be interesting. And I mean, you give up the number, like, even if the worst case scenario that pick is number 6, you're willing to give that up to go get Luka Doncic. Like, let's face it, this is a transcendent prospect.
If you think so, exactly. There's a lot of people that aren't sold him just because he played overseas. I'm hearing that's
better competition than any of these prospects I've played against.
Yeah, but I'm hearing the Mario Hezonja comparisons. But at the same time, you got to remember, Hezonja, he was like the 9th man on his team, if I'm not mistaken. He did not play a ton. Doncic was...
Like, this kid is 18 and dominating the EuroLeague.
He dominated.
EuroLeague MVP, EuroLeague champion. He won all of that sort of stuff. Like, this kid is unprecedented when it comes to European rookies. Like, from what I'm hearing, in my opinion. I mean, I've watched a little bit of him.
He's great, in my opinion.
Yeah, clearly, like, and just getting into a little bit of what he can do. He sees the floor unbelievably well. He's the best passer in this draft. He has a real knack of hitting the weak side corner shooter in the pick and roll. So he really looks for that, I find, and he really hits them hard. I think the only question about him is he going to be able to create off of switches? Like, some of his moves are maybe, they're going to work against EuroLeague defense, and he sauced up some EuroLeague guys. Don't get me wrong, but obviously more athletic, switchable wings and bigs in the NBA are going to be a different story. And
sure. But I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll be fine. He's 18 years old. Even if he takes him 3 years to learn all that stuff, he's still 21. And that's gold still.
Exactly.
So just unbelievable. Again, I think both teams won this, and just combining the fact that actually, and this is an angle we should look at as well. That Dallas pick might not be that good next year. And let me explain why. Because of Dallas's draft situation. If they go and really throw the book at Boogie or DJ or Clint Capella, like that team could be really good. And like, they lost a lot of games in the clutch last year, if I'm not mistaken. They could have easily been a higher win team, but I think that they had the worst clutch record in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but I do agree with you. If they can land a guy like Boogie,
and Mark Cuban's all about winning. He's going to go for the splashy move, 100%.
Exactly. So I think you are right. If they're able to land someone, they just have to land someone.
Exactly. And they've had their fair share of striking out of bigs in the back. I mean, or in the past. I mean, like, the DJ situation was ridiculous. People like locking him in a house with a chair, but nonetheless. Okay, so I think enough on that trade. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think we just summed it up. It's a great trade both ways, but I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna go Team Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas, I would agree because I just believe in Luka Doncic.
Yeah, me too.
100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So the next trade we got was the Sixers Suns trade, and this was a little bit more interesting one because there's a little bit more kind of what if, I think, than the other one. So the Suns got Mikal Bridges, who the Sixers drafted 10th overall, and let's understand that Mikal Bridges was a Sixers native.
Yeah.
A Philly
His mom works
native. She's VP in HR.
Yeah.
Like, he's born in Philly. I'm pretty sure played college and Villanova. Yeah, exactly. And high school basketball in Philly. This guy's been Philly native. They assumed that he was going to be the guy that fell to him the entire time, so they kept him in their eyes as the guy that they were going to take, and then they trade him for number 16 pick Zaire Smith and the Miami 2021 unprotected first. That is interesting. That is interesting. There's a lot of ways you can kind of look at this one, but I think personally, the Sixers got an amazing trade, in my opinion.
I'm going to agree with you just because, firstly, I think Miles Bridges is better than Mikal Bridges, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. I don't think the gap between Smith and Bridges in this trade is that big.
Agreed.
So
and I think that's the difference.
And if you're throwing in a Miami 2021 unprotected first on top of that, hey, I'm taking it because, sure, Miami's Miami. They can attract stars. In 2021, Miami could be the best team in the East. We don't know this. Like, they can attract stars. But even if they do end up being one of the top teams, still, you can trade that pick down the line if you want to move up or if you want to try and pick up an asset at a deadline. Like, there's that 2021 pick, it helps. And I don't think the Smith and Bridge gap is big enough for it to say, oh, no, they should have held on to Bridges. I really think it's a good deal for the Sixers.
Agreed, and you alluded to it there. I think that 2021 pick, even if you want to not use it and you want to put it in the package for Kawhi Leonard, who's now the Spurs seem like they're content on sending you to the East. I mean, that eliminates 15 teams in the West.
Yeah.
And now you've eliminated teams to who's going to give me the best package. And between Boston, the Sixers, and maybe one other team I'm missing, I don't see anybody that's matching those packages.
Boston and the Sixers are the two teams that have by far the most to throw. They have the most firepower.
100%. So 100%. So that's amazing. And just like a little thing too is actually Philly saved $1 million in cap space by moving down to the 16th pick. Like anything you can do to move that space to get that guy is what they're looking to do. And I mean, the Suns did get a good player, Mikal Bridges. Like, I don't want to knock them for like doing that, but I mean, at this stage in their franchise, in the rebuild that they still seem to be in, you gotta think that 2021 pick could have been so valuable. Whether it was just, even if you're bad next year and you get like I don't know, like a middling round pick, like the Suns could at least become a destination that free agents are thinking about, especially if you see like that chemistry with Ayton and like Bridges playing a key role and Devin Booker. Like, well, I guess Bridges wouldn't be in there in the scenario that I'm speaking of, but the point is that I think that with Josh Jackson and like Marquise Chris, we'll see where he gets, and Dragan Bender, like that could, and Ayton now, like that is a nice core where if they develop even semi, like that could be a place where you can attract a free agent.
Yeah, 100%. You could, yeah.
And you're gonna have to pay Booker. Like Booker's getting there on his up on his rookie scale, so he's gonna be due for the max, and I believe he's gonna get it with Phoenix. Yeah. But I think a complimentary player going out there and paying for one is not a bad option if you're the Suns, and it's going to be like a lot harder now that you don't have that 2021 pick to throw as an asset to go and get that guy. So
for sure.
Just some thought on there, but questionable value to I think you alluded to it in the beginning is the difference between Zaire Smith and Mikal Bridges is not worth the value of the 2021 pick, in my opinion. In my opinion. Yeah. So I think we'll just leave it at that. I watch a little bit on Zaire Smith, super athletic. He had the third highest max vertical jump of 41.5. But you mentioned it before we got on. All athleticism, very raw prospect at this point. Very raw prospect. But you know what? I don't think the Sixers need him to contribute right away.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're going after the goals that they're going to. And it kind of reminds me of he was able to stretch out a little bit though. I did see, and his mechanics did look good from some of the highlights that I saw in shooting the potential. Yes, for sure. And you know who he reminds me of? Just a raw version of Robert Covington, oddly enough, on the Sixers. A guy
more athletic though.
Definitely more athletic, and definitely probably a worse defender at this point than Robert Covington.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, at this point. But just where he could get to, I see a Robert Covington type potential from him, and even higher, especially considering the athleticism. Yeah. So I thought it was good value for the Sixers there. So let's talk about Michael Porter. Like, I have great value picks kind of written down, but
biggest slip of the draft,
exactly.
Sure.
So he goes to the Nuggets at 14, and from what I heard, there was a lot of kind of differing opinions about who got what medical information. Some people got different information than others, but
you do your homework. Denver knows. They're not going to draft him.
Agreed. And you know what? I just think that this guy is just too talented for you to not take a chance on.
Before the injury, he was in the talk for number one.
Yes, it was ridiculous. I mean, and if you don't know anything about Michael Porter Jr., this guy is a 6'10" pure ball handling wing. Like this guy,
he can score.
This guy can shoot the ball at will. He can break you down off the dribble at 6'10", whether you are a small forward, a power forward, or a center. He's breaking you down. If you are a shooting guard, good luck. He's shooting over the top. He's got a post game too. Like this kid is unbelievably skilled. And I mean, there's issue about his attitude and all that sort of stuff. But hey, when you're that good, that tends to happen. Like, let's face it. And let's face it. There was questions about Dennis Smith Jr. attitude coming out too, and I'm pretty sure Ben Simmons the same way. So, I mean, that kind of stuff is overblown a little bit in my opinion. But like I said, I think this kid is just so talented. And Denver needs him to do absolutely nothing this year. Absolutely nothing.
Well,
like he doesn't have to contribute.
He doesn't have to, but it would be very nice.
Oh yeah.
And for his development, you got to give him minutes.
For sure. But if you want to be safe with him and really play the cautious game and make sure that he's fully injured, like you could play the Joel Embiid game with him and just kind of play him not on back-to-backs and really kind of ease him into things. And we've seen how that strategy worked for a guy that was injured that much. So I mean, we'll definitely see what happens with Michael Porter, but I think that was probably the best value pick of the draft going.
I
going
agree with you there, 100%.
So. So that was interesting. Another guy I liked, Aaron Holiday at 23 of the Pacers. 6'1" guard, plays way bigger though. 6'7" wingspan, and he's part of the other basketball.
Aaron Holiday can ball.
Yeah, with Justin, who is maybe one of the most underrated point guards in the league at this point, and Drew, who's a little less talented but plays for the Bulls. Yeah. And so the third guy, Aaron Holiday, is in the family, and from what I understand, he has a natural chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's the best of the three, in my opinion. Yeah, I really think so.
And I'm not mistaken, and I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure he's an entire basketball family. Like, his dad played at Arizona State. I'm pretty sure his mom played at Arizona State as well. And all three of these guys also played in the NBA. So quite interesting story there, but I thought he got great value, and especially to a place like the Pacers, where he can compete for a job. You know, Corey Joseph isn't pushing a rookie like that for his job at this point. I think we know what Corey Joseph is as a backup point guard, and I would say the same with Darren Collison. I mean, he's a low fringe one, and I mean, if you can get an upgrade at that position at 23, taking a flyer on a guy, I think it's a great pick personally.
Oh yeah, no, fantastic pick. Also, to go back to Holiday, his sister is also on the Bruins women's basketball team.
There you go. So that's what I mean. So crazy basketball family there. So great pick in my opinion. And then I have him as the second best value, but I think I actually should switch that around and say Robert Williams going to the Celtics at 28 might be the second best value pick. I can't believe he went that far.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Holiday's more value though. I like Robert Williams. I do. I just think Aaron Holiday can play. I think there's a few other guys too. I think that were a bit of a value pick as well. I can get into them after. We'll talk about Robert Williams.
Yeah, for sure.
Rob Williams definitely just showed those flashes of like, I want this guy.
He's
like whatever the pick, I want this guy.
He's an above the rim player, 100%. He's going to project to be a guy like a DeAndre Jordan, like a Clint Capella. Mm-hmm. He's going to catch your lobs. He's athletic as shit, and he's going to be able to defend in not necessarily in a switching system. Just considering, I don't think he's too mobile on the perimeter, but he's a good help defender. He's going to come and be able to block shots on your weak side. And he possibly could be an upgrade from Aaron Baines or not an upgrade, but a replacement, I should say, for Aaron Baines if they choose to let him walk. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they could let Baines go, and Robert Williams could definitely fill in. Like, he doesn't need to play. Like,
exactly.
He just you can ease him in. It's another one of those situations.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, as a player, you want to be able to play and earn your minutes. The minutes still could be earned, but it's going to be a lot tougher in Boston. But hey, you work hard in practices. You keep developing. You're going to get minutes. You are going to get minutes.
Totally, 100%.
And like you said, just that raw rim protection, like they're calling him SWAT Williams. Like, it's like I'm SWAT Williams the third. Like, I'm excited. As much as I'm not the biggest Boston fan, being a Raptor fan, I'm still excited to see Robert Williams play in the NBA.
Totally. So we'll see what he projects to, and I also like his potential there in the Celtics system. Obviously, that's a system where you're going to get the most out of guys. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for him as well. Another guy I had was DeAnthony Melton, and this guy didn't really get talked about a lot, but I watched a little bit on there.
DeAnthony Melton's good. That's a hell of a pick for the second round.
He got picked 46 to the Rockets, and he was actually under that FBI probe for some of the players getting paid. So I think that actually tarnished his reputation a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
And he was able to slip to 46 where he went to the Rockets. Where if you're taking guys who can play, if you're the Rockets at this point, you know what I mean. Like you're one piece away and possibly a piece this summer. So you're just taking best value at that point. I think they got it in DeAnthony Melton, and a guy that we both like that didn't get drafted, Trayvon Duval, actually got admitted to the Rockets Summer League. So that's great to hear. He's going to be able to play and try to earn his spot as a potential backup point guard, third point guard, assuming Chris Paul comes back. We'll see. Yeah. He should be coming back, but again, we'll see. As on that roster, and sometimes that's necessary, especially with Paul having his injury history. I know a third ball handler, not having to rely on Eric Gordon as much might be some value there for the Rockets. So we'll see how it happens.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that. I think with the Rockets, like you said, if they got to go with not necessarily the most potential at that pick for them. I think if you got a guy who even just does a job, he's going to come in there and he's going to defend, or he's going to come in there, he's going to rebound. That's the guy I think you got to take there because you're that close.
I agree, 100%. So that's. That'll be good to see. Some questionable pick. I questioned. Actually, sorry. Did you have any other guys that you were kind of interested in terms of value?
Yeah, I loved Lonnie Walker to the Spurs.
Yeah, for sure. We should
Big fan of that. Big fan of that.
Yeah, maybe I'll let you go in on that a little bit because
that guy just shows flashes of like another guy. I want this guy on my team. Like he just does a lot for you on the court, and watch him play at Miami. Like I just happened to catch quite a few Miami games, and This guy was always impressing me. Just at some point or another, just wow, another good play. And you're putting him with Pop? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm liking this. I'm really liking the pick of Lonnie Walker there. I like Chandler Hutchison to Chicago. Mm-hmm. I didn't love Wendell Carter at 7 to the Bulls.
What's your thinking on that? Just kind of curious. You don't think he would be a good a pairing with Lauri Markkanen in there, especially with the shooting, asking him to do more of the dirty work down low. Just a guy that can play some defense. Yeah, I thought it was a good pick next to Lauri Markkanen.
It's not a bad pick per se. I just think there's a lot better after him.
Okay.
I really did. Like I thought right there at 7, what I was thinking watching, I was like, well, it's Michael Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was
thinking, and that's why I was like, ooh. But I know a lot of teams ended up missing on him, so that's why I think they could have went elsewhere. It's not that I'm really knocking Wendell Carter. I'm just, I guess I'm kind of knocking him a little, but I think there's just better players out there.
I think he has an incredibly high floor, personally. I think he's a guy that's going to project to be something close to what Al Horford is. I think that's kind of in the comparison. But if you can get a guy like that to be a full Al Horford, I mean, you're throwing parties if you're the Chicago Bulls. So yeah. I think he has a very low floor, and I think he's going to be a great player. He's going to contribute in a lot of the ways that the Bulls needed, especially with their lack of defensive kind of prowess outside of Chris Dunn. So I like the pick personally, but I can see the other way. I mean, if you're going at 7, you really want maybe some more of a potential pick.
Yeah.
Where I can see Michael Porter Jr. or maybe some of the other guys that slipped being there as well. But I like the pick overall for the Bulls. I mean, I don't think they got it wrong, which I think is the most important part.
Yeah.
I don't think they got it wrong. I think that's the best way you can kind of put it, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess time will tell. Yeah. I think, though, Chandler Hutchison might be better for them. I really do. I think Chandler Hutchison, just the development this guy has shown year after year after year after
What school did he come out of?
Boise State.
Boise State?
So he's not didn't play much competition, but I know with him, it started, he was just a defensive guy, just defense. Mm-hmm. Then I believe it was his junior year, I think they wanted him to shoot the ball. Yeah, they said, hey, we're going to need to develop you in the offense. I believe a new coach came in. Mm-hmm. He went to the gym. He worked hard, worked on everything. Went from 6.8 points a game to 17.4.
Wow.
8 rebounds, 3 assists. The next year, his senior year, 20 points a game, 4 assists. 4 assists and 8 rebounds, 7.7.
Wow. Okay.
So the guy's just developing, and he's already great on defense. So I believe, Mountain West all-defensive team. He's already a good defensive player. And his offensive ability is just developing, and so that's why at 6'7", 196, I think that he's got that large, long frame. I really think Chandler Hutchison could do things. I don't know his measurables. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. I don't really have his measurables. But when I watched him play, I was a fan of Chandler Hutchison. Not that I watched much Boise State, but I liked his progression too.
100%. Yeah, he could definitely be a guy there. I also like Kevin Huerter to the Hawks. Big time shoot. Well, not big time, but big body shooting guard, I should say. He could be a solid role player, I think, possibly.
He could be.
He could be a solid role player for the Hawks, especially in a time where that shooting guard position is up for grabs. I mean, the Hawks could really upgrade at any position you can think of right now. So,
of course, yeah.
So I think that he could compete for a job there. I like the pick there.
I have 2 more. Just
go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, 3 more. I'm not even going to talk about. I like Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson going in the second round.
Interesting.
I think that's just It's to the Knicks. You're the Knicks. Take the shot because you don't know.
What did you like about Mitchell Robinson per se? I didn't see any of him really.
To be honest with you, I haven't watched much of it on him. I've just looked at his measurables. I've watched his combine, his workouts. I've never really watched too much of his basketball, him actually on the court. Okay. But his story is very interesting. Okay. Like he's the first. What is he? The first recruited draft pick to wind up not playing for any college.
Oh, interesting.
Throughout any year. Here, what is it? I know his story. It's ridiculous.
But nonetheless,
he was at Western Kentucky, and 2 weeks before a plane trip to Costa Rica, sources then indicated he'd left campus and his room was cleaned out. He was then indefinitely suspended. He went around, got offers from other schools, and never ended up signing anywhere. But because he signed basically a letter of intent, never even played with Western Kentucky. Really? He's entering the draft as a grad of Western Kentucky, but he never really played. It's a really weird situation, and I don't know much about him. I just know he's very raw, very athletic at 7 feet 225. Yeah. So for the second round, I'm taking the shot if you've done your homework.
And you think the thing you like about those guys too is they're not entitled at all. They're natural chip on their shoulder type of guys, and they're in control of like their own selves and understanding and of who they are in terms of self-awareness, especially if you make decisions like that. So, I mean, I obviously love guys like that. And who knows, maybe the Knicks finally hit one in the second round.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I don't know if I'm not going to nail that as a value pick. I'm going to nail that as a very interesting pick. It's just a noteworthy pick to me. I'm thinking very interesting because you can't know that much about him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going off his high school footage for the most part. Like, you can't really know that much about him.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting case with him. I've heard good things about Isaac Bonga, Isaac Bonga as well. So I don't know. I haven't watched much of him, but I've heard good things, and I really like the pick right before DeAnthony Melton, Hamidou Diallo.
Oh, yeah,
I think right there.
About him too. Very good.
Hey,
very good point.
At the 45th overall, I think you're getting Hamidou Diallo. That you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You're getting a good two-way shooting guard.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, definitely. I wouldn't say you're locking in the offense, but I think you're locking in the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, definitely, the offense has the ability to improve, but I think you're locking in a good defensive player with Hamidou Diallo.
100%. Any other guys you wanted to touch on? Or?
And Hamidou, what happened? He got traded to OKC.
Yeah, so I think let me actually check. I know he was. I'm pretty sure he was
traded
involved.
Twice on draft day. I'm pretty sure.
Or at least
Charlotte,
once.
and then I think it went to Charlotte, and then he went to.
No, he was the pick that the Hornets got, and then the Dwight Howard
Gotcha.
trade. That's
okay,
what it
yeah.
was. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
I think they got a good player there.
Yeah.
And after that, I think the draft just kind of cost us. I guess we'll see. He's got the attempted bone in his blood,
exactly.
but we'll see.
He's got Isaiah backing him up. If you saw that on Twitter, the 60 number 60 formula. So that was funny.
One more thing. Love how Bamba's wearing number 5 in Orlando.
Yeah, me too.
So he's Bamba number 5. That's fantastic.
That is funny. Another guy I wanted to kind of touch on. Actually, go ahead with Dante DiVincenzo. I know you weren't a fan of this pick for the Bucks either. I thought it was interesting. I mean, he's not necessarily. Do you think too much of his name was made at kind of the clutch time in Villanova, and maybe we were kind of ignoring some of the earlier tape, or do you think maybe
he had a good national championship final, a great national championship final, one of the best?
Yeah, and that really hit up his draft stock 100%. Because I don't think that he's going this high without that stretch of games that he had in the Final Four and then in the finals.
Yeah, I just don't. I know they're saying, oh, he's athletic, he can score, he can play make. I just don't really see NBA potential in all that. It's at the college level, he can do it all. I don't know. Prove me wrong. I want him to prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know. I just don't. I guess I don't hate the pick. I just. Again, you could have went with Lonnie Walker, who went right after Kevin Huerter from Maryland. There's a lot of guys you could have went with, and it was just why DiVincenzo. That's my opinion there.
Interesting. I don't want to get too deep into him. I mean, I didn't really watch much film, but I mean, it seems like a guy who could be a scorer if he fills out his potential. I don't really know much about his defense or his playmaking ability, but interesting. I mean, if a guy shows that kind of skill in the clutch situations, I mean, you gotta. I mean, maybe that was a little bit too high to take a chance on a guy like that, but nonetheless, I think he got to have some value. We touched on Aaron Holiday. What about Grayson Allen? The fact that he went 21 while being a senior, stayed in school, got his education all the way through Duke, has become, I guess, a Duke legend. Maybe like outside of maybe like Christian Laettner and JJ Redick, he's probably the next craziest Duke player of all time.
Nah, you got George Hill. You got some. There's some guys.
But in terms of tenure, at least. Not just one.
George Hill was there for a while.
Oh, yeah, was he?
Yeah. Pretty sure, anyway. Yeah, for sure. He's definitely done things that do. He's very polarizing.
Oh, 100%. He trips a lot of guys. We've seen the footage and all that sort of stuff, but going to the Jazz at 21, I mean, he's going to help right away, though.
He fits, there's no more of a fit. Him in Utah is, the perfect fit.
I mean, all you're going to ask him to do, you're not going to ask him to create off the dribble. I mean, if he can, maybe catch and attack a closeout if you close out too hard and make a decision on the floor, that would be great value. But, I mean, outside of maybe just curling off pin downs, Gobert pin downs on the right side, being able to, just be on a catch and shoot basis, stand in the corner, be a catch and shoot threat. I mean, that's what Grayson Allen is. He's a prolific and confident shooter. He's going to be able to put the ball in the hole if you leave him open. And I think that's what you need right now if you're Utah. Yeah. I mean, Ricky Rubio, not a shooter. Donovan Mitchell, obviously going to be an incredible player, looks like, and he's definitely a shooter. But, I mean, outside of that, you don't really have much in terms of putting the ball in the hole at any level, in all honesty. So I thought it was a great fit for the Jazz.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a good fit there.
It's good to see seniors getting taken in the first round, too. And that's the case of Chandler Hutchinson as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's, I'd say, my value picks.
Okay, that's good. One of the questionable picks I had was Kevin Knox going to 9. I just felt that pick kind of just feels empty to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just have a natural uneasiness because it's the Knicks, but I just feel, you know what I mean? You just feel like if it's the Knicks gonna pick them, like they gotta get it wrong. Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. I watched a little bit of his pre-draft workout. I saw a little bit of what he did. He's a decent player. You know, maybe I'm underrating a little bit too much. He was able to put the ball on the floor a little bit. What is he? 6'9" wing, right?
Yeah.
6'9" wing. He's one of the younger players in this draft. What's his measurables? 215 looks like. 6'9", 215. He's 18 years old. So he has a lot of time to develop, and you know he was able to improve his game a lot after the season was over. It seems like he was doing a lot of these new things off the dribble and being able to run a little bit of pick and roll and stuff like that after he got out of school. But again, I just don't think I'm sold yet on the skill. Maybe he'll be able to develop maybe on the same timeline as Ntilikina, but I'm just not sold yet. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm not gonna say I don't. Yeah, it's a little just underwhelming. I guess. But I guess no time has passed, so we'll see. Show me what he does in the summer league if he plays in this well, and it's summer league. It's obviously just a summer league.
Yeah.
But if you're showing potential in the summer league, I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree, and we've seen guys like Kyle Kuzma make their name there in an eventual roster spot. Exactly. So I don't want to underrate that too much, although we don't want to overrate it either. Jerome Robinson, 13 in the Clippers. That was kind of an interesting pick. This is a guy I did a little bit of research on. He's a pure scorer. This is one of those guys that just puts the ball in the hole, but I think you're pulling up his stats right now. Go look at his other stats. Very little assists and steals and rebounds. Like his PER is usually not that high because he doesn't do much more than shoot and score. Looks like he did shoot 45% at Boston College, so that's okay. And he is a shooter for almost 41% from downtown. And he's got 83 from the line, so I mean the guy could be a big time scorer, but I just feel again another empty pick. Feels like there could have been a little bit better value there. Although I did like the move to go up and get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a fellow Canadian there out of Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm not huge, honestly. I think it's just the fact that he's 6'6", 7 foot wingspan is ridiculous. It's great.
Ridiculous.
But I don't know. Not sold on him either, and okay. I'm really not. I
like the pick. I think he has the potential to be really good.
Again, he was
a one and done. A guy that was able to really defend and bother shots, so switching on to not only ones and twos and threes. I saw a little bit of that in his defensive highlights. He got blown by maybe a little bit too much, a little bit more than I would have liked to have seen in some of the highlights that I watched. But I think this is a guy with good ability to have good coaching. I mean, Rock Divers is going to do a great job. Yeah, I said that on purpose. Rock Divers is going to do a great job being able to coach him, and I mean that seriously. Into what's going to be a great point guard in my opinion. So they drafted him as their point guard of the future as of right now. That's the guy that they took to be their point guard of the future. And so
I don't think that's not bad. But yeah. Like I said, I don't believe in the depth of this draft. I really don't. So that's why. Yeah, we're just in comparison. Yeah, I really think comparison in this draft, it's a good pick. It is. He was probably the last good point guard available, debatably. Aaron Holiday, but he went way later. Like, the last, I think a guy that you're not going to guarantee a hit, but, yeah, I guess you're not going to... I don't think I'm going to guarantee he's going to be a bad NBA player. I don't think there's much all-star potential from really many guys. DeAndre Ayton, I'm not going to say he's going to be the worst first overall pick of all time. I'm not going to go there. It's Greg Oden, obviously. He may not even be worse, but he's worse for sure. But I don't think Ayton's fantastic. I'd even say I think Bamba might do more in the NBA than Ayton.
Interesting.
Yeah, Ayton, the defense, and just...
I can see him coming out, though, and just getting a very empty 20-10 for the Suns, though, at the same time. Or an 18-9 or something along those lines, where it's just it doesn't contribute to winning at all, but he just puts up the numbers just for the sheer physicality and the fact that there's nobody else to play those minutes. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I think it's possible, too. But I don't... He's not first overall, in my opinion.
I thought Doncic should have gone first overall. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you just didn't take Doncic. In my opinion,
play Doncic at the 1, and then.
I'm not going to say Ayton was a bad pick by any means. Like I just said, I think he could come in and contribute to 20 and 10. I mean, how much that's going to contribute to winning is another question. But to put up the sheer raw numbers just because of his physical athleticism and talent, I mean, I think that could definitely be a thing. But again, we see a lot of that. That's the question we had with Boogie in Sacramento. He's putting up all these big numbers, but he's not winning anything. And so we had those questions about Boogie. Now that he comes to New Orleans and puts up those numbers, I mean, it sucks he got injured, but there was contributed to winning. And so we really saw the difference between what those two versions of DeMarcus Cousins were, in my opinion. And I think that we're going to see a version of that with DeAndre Ayton. Maybe not to the extent of Boogie, because Boogie is incredibly dominant, and I'm not saying he's going to get there. But I'm just saying in terms of sheer being able to put up those numbers that may not contribute to winning, but you do say, hey, what could he do on a winning team? I think that that's something we'll see with DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, I guess only time will tell, of course. But
of course. And then, one of my last questionable picks for the Magic was Melvin Frazier. Gary Trent Jr. and Kyrie Thomas were both on the board there. I like both of those guys personally.
Fair.
I really like both of those guys, and I really didn't know a lot about Melvin Frazier. I did a little bit of research, but I don't really like what I saw. And
it's the Magic. What do you expect?
Yeah, I know. That's another thing is I feel better than the Knicks about them missing on this one. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like they're definitely missing on this one, and so I feel like that's an unfair aspersion to cast there on Melvin Frazier, but I'm just going off my history, my man. I can't do much more than that. Yeah, I like the Bamba pick, though. The
Bamba pick was good. I really like Bamba, but I don't... Yeah, I'm with you. What I know of Melvin Frazier wasn't that impressed with, but I can't tell you. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I just watched some tape. I didn't watch too many Tulane games, so...
Yeah, so we'll see on him again. We'll have to circle back to that, but not a guy I was a fan of. Okay, do you want to just finish up with winners and losers, or do you got some other guys you were questioning or that you want to talk about quick?
No, I think I've gone. Oh, I like Keita Bates-Diop at 48, I guess. I missed over him. I like that pick there. Okay. I think we pretty much touched on everybody. I like what the Raptors did with, Raul Alkins from Arizona, the undrafted free agent they signed.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. I've watched, from what I've seen, Raul Alkins, yeah.
Raul Alkins, okay.
I remember watching him at Arizona. I wasn't sure wasn't sure to pronounce his name. He's not bad. He really is not a bad player. I'm going to pull up his stats for you.
And you always like to think that if the Raptors were, well, maybe not, okay, I shouldn't necessarily that, but when the Raptors don't trade back up into the draft to try and get a guy and they sign one, undrafted, it means they had their eye on that guy, but maybe wasn't enough for them to try and risk an asset to get back up in there. So we'll see how it is, but I'm kind of interested to see what he might do.
Yeah, like we saw Fred VanVleet as an undrafted free agent just emerge.
That's a great example.
And I believe in Masai. I believe in the Raptors front office that they have. He's a 6'5", more of a shooting guard for sure. Yeah. But he put up 13, 5, and 3 last year. So 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists.
We're devoid of that if you're the Raptors, realistically. I mean, outside of DeMar DeRozan, you don't really have like a true shooting guard. I mean, Norman Powell,
I guess.
They play a lot of 2-point guard lineups, you know what I mean? With either Kyle and DeLon or Kyle and Fred or Fred and DeLon. It's a lot of 2-guard lineups. So I think
we're probably not going to have Fred next year.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
When I say we, I just say it as a Raptors fan. But the Raptors are probably not going to have Fred next year.
Yeah, next year. I totally agree. And I'm fine with relying on DeLon right now.
Yeah, me too. But then I think that's just another spot that could be for a guy like Raul Alkins. It could be for a guy like Malachi Richardson.
Jumps it. Yep.
There's
guys that can make their name and earn that spot back. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I don't want to get too much on a tangent here into the Raptors talk, although it's quite easy considering how big of fans we are. But okay, let's just go through the winners, and I think we talked about most of them. My first winner, Dallas. You got Luka Doncic. Mm-hmm. Excellent pick there. You got Jalen Brunson, who was another great point guard, and then you traded 54 for 56 and 60, where you got Ray Spalding, who I don't know much about, and then Kostas Antetokounmpo, the third of the Antetokounmpo brothers. And if we know anything about them, they're long, they're athletic, and they're going to work hard, considering the family and the story that they come from. So to take a chance on a guy like that for 60,
that's worth it.
I mean, that's worth it. Big win for Dallas. Another winner, Atlanta. Again, you got Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, who we talked about, Omari Spellman, who was able to stretch the floor. Who's actually, I'm pretty sure that Omari Spellman was the pick that Brooklyn got from us, who then got traded to Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, and he's the guy that they took from the DeMar Carroll trade. Yeah. So that's where that came from. I hear you can shoot the ball, and they got the 2019 first rounder unprotected 1 through 5. Yeah, big draft night win for Atlanta in my opinion.
Dallas, yeah.
From Dallas and Atlanta, both of them. Yes.
No, but I mean the pick was from Dallas.
Oh, sorry, pick from Dallas. My opinion, or my apologies. Yes. So Philly, another one I thought was a big winner. Again, Zaire Smith. They got Landry Shamet, who that kid can shoot.
Yeah,
that kid
honestly,
can shoot.
yeah, he's a guy actually we missed on.
Yeah,
That's
he
a
can
great
shoot
pick
the
there.
basketball, from what I understand. So
I think Shake Milton, people just like his name.
Okay, Shake Milton. I heard some good things about him, but listen to this haul. Like outside of this, like this is the craziest part. Okay, they got the Miami 2021 first rounder unprotected. They got 2 future second rounders in just minute second round trades from the Lakers, I don't remember who exactly, but they got 2 future second rounders, and then another 2019 second rounder from the Lakers, and they got cash considerations on top of that, and they saved $1 million in cap space to go out and get their free agent that they wanted this offseason. Huge win for Philly, in my opinion, outside of just the draft picks, like in terms of what they were looking to do.
Huge. Yeah, Philly's probably the second. I'd put them ahead of Atlanta, but I'd say Dallas the winner.
Yeah, for sure. I just have them listed on here. I don't have them in any particular order, just going. And then Nuggets, like Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, you don't have to say anything else. Michael Porter Jr. at 14. You don't have to say anything.
But I do want to say something here, because if you're the Nuggets, right, and you're thinking we're gonna go back a few months, and this is the last game of the regular season, and you're 1 game away from making the playoffs. Yeah. If you told me if you missed this game, you're gonna get Michael Porter Jr., they would have tanked.
Oh, 100%.
They would have tanked.
100%. Yeah.
They would have tanked. Mm-hmm. So that's how good the value is. They're still competitive. Like I said, Michael Porter doesn't even need to see the court this year, and I still think that the Nuggets are shaped up to be a good team.
Yeah.
A team that's going to at least compete to play in the playoffs, which
Yeah.
is what you're looking for at this point as a Nuggets fan. So that's actually awesome. Like, just think about this, man. Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic.
I know. And the bench is not bad.
Yeah, and if you're able to retain Will Barton as a 6th man, oh my goodness, man, that could get ridiculous in my opinion. Like that offense is competing for top 5 in the league.
It'll be a good offense.
Unbelievable. And the question is about the defense.
Michael Malone's still coaching. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Runs a good offense.
Nuggets also got Jared Vanderbilt at 41 and Thomas Welsh at 58. Don't know anything about those 2 guys. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, just to have a guy like Millsap be able to mentor a guy like that and be able to teach him the nuances of playing the game at that size and that position, I think is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And so I think the Nuggets are just kind of an overall one of the big winners, one of the 4 in my opinion of this draft night.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think those are about the winners for me too.
For sure. In terms of losers, I mean, you like Mitchell Robinson a lot.
No, okay, I'm not gonna say I like Mitchell Robinson a lot. I like the intrigue of Mitchell Robinson because nobody knows anything about him.
Yeah.
So that actually could go both ways. It could tie into the Knicks being more of losers because Kevin Knox not 100% sure about that pick, and then you don't know anything about Mitchell Robinson.
No,
so you could have
really.
just had 2 absolute misses. But I'm not saying Knox is going to be a miss, but you don't know anything really about Mitchell Robinson. But hey, the athleticism's there. The athleticism is definitely there. You're not going off a whole lot of tape against tough competition. But hey, it's the 2nd round. Take the shot. So I'm not going to say they're complete losers this draft, but they are the Knicks, so they probably end up will be.
Well, I didn't really have too many losers for this draft. Like, I mean, it's all about who projects and who doesn't project. Like,
exactly.
You're going to have to wait.
Yeah. You always have to wait. Yeah.
In my opinion, like more than others, because I don't really see a team that like reached out of the way and got a guy. Other maybe like Jerome Robinson. I wasn't really too sure on him, to be honest. But outside of that, I wasn't really sure that anybody reached out of the way to get a guy that maybe they shouldn't have. Like that's just how I felt. Maybe there was some guys that we like wanted to get drafted that didn't. Get Trayvon Duval was one of those other guys, LeAngelo Ball. No, I'm just kidding. But other than that, no, I don't really see anybody that really lost this draft unless their guy that they picked doesn't project, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, just like I said earlier, the first thing I said, I don't see the depth in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't know. I don't really have much to say about the guys late in the draft because I don't really think they're going to have much impact. With that being said, work hard. Anything can happen. You're given the opportunity, take advantage of it. The talent's not there, in my opinion. It's just not. Like I said, I think I tweeted about it one time. I think in the first 5 seasons, there's only going to be 1 All-Star appearance. Or 1 player make an All-Star appearance, and that's Doncic. I don't think anyone else will make an All-Star appearance in the first 5 seasons.
I mean, and if we want to just touch on that really quickly, I mean, there's some tough competition.
Exactly. There's some tough competition, but I mean, in your first 5 seasons, you won't couple of those players. You're drafting them to be 5 seasons in the league. You want them to be at All-Star level.
You don't think maybe Trae Young could be an All-Star in his first 5 seasons?
I'm not sold on him. No, I'm not sold on him.
Interesting.
He shows flashes of it, but there's been other guys in the past that show flashes and don't end up. Like, I'm not saying he's Jimmer Fredette. I'm not saying that at all. But Jimmer could shoot the basketball just like Trae Young can. And Jimmer's playing in China. I don't even know where Jimmer's playing. So
Yeah, I'm not sure either. You don't think Bamba maybe at center?
Nah.
In the East?
No, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I think Bamba's going to be a very, very, very good player. I don't think he's going to be an all-star. I don't think he's at that level.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah, you know what? The more you say it, the more I kind of tend to agree with you.
Michael Porter Jr. has a chance, of course. I'm not going to say that too, but yeah, I'm going to stick with my gut, though. I really think Doncic is the only player who's going to be an absolute, maybe household name.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, time will definitely tell. I tend to agree with you. I think Aiden's going to have a tough competition being an all-star in the West. Bagley, I don't think, is going to make the all-star team in the West, although I do like his potential. Hopefully he can be really good.
A lot can change, obviously, roster-wise. The East could become great in 5 years. We don't know.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I just don't think that this draft is
just from a talent perspective. You're projecting more of
role players and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very interesting. All right, that'll do it. Good discussion. I think we kind of touched on some of the guys we liked all the way around and just kind of who won and the fact that there weren't too many losers until we actually find out who can play and who can't, which is usually with every draft, but I think more so in this draft maybe than others.
Yeah, I think when there's a lot of talent in draft, you can say, ooh, that's an interesting pick, picking him over him when like the talent is there. So that this draft, there wasn't that to me. It was a lot of, okay, like very similar, like very on par. Like there wasn't too many names that were just way above. It was a lot of like, okay, you got your clear favorite. You got probably maybe Bamba is the second best prospect, probably Trae Young maybe 3, and then I got 8 and 4. And then after that, it's just kind of like a bunch of cluster. Like, I don't know, there's not much separating. I think everyone's pretty equal. I don't think that's a whole lot. That's what I gotta say.
Okay, fair enough. So just wrapping up, again, that was our draft review as we went through first and a little bit of the second round as well. And yeah, stay tuned. July 1st is right around the corner. Free agents will be dropping like hotcakes very soon. So we might not do a podcast, or I'm not sure if Nick will be on for the next one, but I might not do a podcast right on July 1st. I might wait a couple of days to just kind of see all the cards unfold.
Take it in.
And then, they just kind of get some ideas of why maybe things happened in what order they did. So maybe not a July 1st podcast, but definitely one coming within the next week or two, 100% about that. So stay tuned, and we will see when free agency season hits. Till then.